Hey guys, today I'm going to go more in depth in the kayak accessories that I've fitted to the kayak. So the first thing I'm going to start with is these bar rails. So when you get them, they just slide into these plastic bits here. So yeah, the rail just slides in there, and they're quite flimsy. Like you can twist them inside it, and yeah. One day I was wheeling the kayak up on a bank, and this middle rail popped out, and I got my finger jammed between there and the plastic. So I'm like, oh, I need to do something about that. So what I've done, taken the caps off, I've double-sided taped a track nut on the inside, and then if you have a look under here, there's like a hole where there's like meant to be a bolt, and I've actually drilled a 6mm hole and put an M6 bolt through there and clamped the plastic to the rail on all of them except for these rear ones. So on the front you can see M6 bolt. I have a double-sided taped track nut in there, and just gives it a bit more rigidity. So now it's really solid. And for this one, I didn't drill any holes. I just turned the rail 90 degrees because you can see it's got a track in there already. I've just used a track nut in there and put the bolt through it. Done it on this rail too. So yeah, that was one of the first things I've done. Second thing I've done with this motor mount, as you can see, it's pretty short, and I wanted to utilize the whole surface area of the back of the kayak, because with the motor there is a bit of flex, and even though it's rated to 80 pounds, I'm only using a 24 pound motor, it still has a lot of flex. So I've tried to divide the weight up with these 3mm thick plates that I've painted black and drilled holes through. So this center console, it's alright, but it needed a little tray. So I've just chopped up a chopping board and hot glued 2 edges on it and painted it red. Now it just slots in there. I got a little sliding tray to put my phone on, or whatever else I want on there. The little bag that you saw earlier, it's good because I can just tuck the transducer cable in there, so it gets it out of the way. What else? So when I'm like trying to drag it up the bank or loading it up, it tends to slide off the cart I've got. So this is a Vevor kayak cart. I get paid like $100 for it, and you can see it's got these 2 twist nuts. But what I've done, I've taken it out and added an M6 eyelet bolt, and this is where I put a ratchet strap, so I can ratchet strap the kayak to the cart, and it doesn't move when I load it up now, or when I'm loading it into the water or pulling it back out of the water, because there's that little ledge where I load it up, and just makes it a bit easier to do. What else? Oh, my sounder. So yeah, what I said earlier about the Railblazer, they're okay, but it's got a lot of movement, man. So I found this black PVC pipe that fits perfectly in the actual Railblazer mount, and I've added a long 8mm bolt through it, and then I bought this clamping system. I can't even remember what they're called. It was off AliExpress. It's like $20, and it's solid compared to that Railblazer mount. Like, it stays there. The only thing that flexes is the actual rail, and even that doesn't have very much flex now. Yeah, I've got some stainless steel eyelet bolts with some M6 nut track nuts. That's just where the battery goes, so I can tie it down. What else? The keel guards, so it's just garden edging from Bunnings. So a lot of American fellas use Kayak, and because it molds easily, and yeah, it's good, but it's only like 2mm thick. This garden edging stuff from Bunnings is like a few mil, and it's It's a lot better. It's a lot better quality, and it's gonna last a lot longer. Especially that when I loaded up onto the Ranger, I scraped the back edge here, and it really needed to be protected. And it's only been a few times, and you can see it's worn away a lot already. So I'm going to need to make some more. It's quite easy to make. So when you have these rails, you can't get your bungee cord on the clip. It's quite hard, so I've added these zip ties to at least be able to grab it a bit easier all around on both sides. Just makes it a little bit easier to use. For the pod, I've just got a bit of foam on the inside to wedge it in there a bit better. You don't really need to have these clamps, but I do anyway. In the two hatches, I've got two battery boxes. So I've just unbolted this one and just put this one in here. It's pretty good, just hold some of the stuff in there. As well as the front. The front one fits a lot nicer. Even though it sticks up, it still fits. But yeah, it's good to just be able to chuck things in there and not lose them in your kayak. But yeah, that's just a bit more in depth on the things I've done to it. This 12-volt box is probably one of the most important things about the whole build. So it's got my XT90 connector with power in, so that powers it up. And then you get your power out, so your XT60s, one's for the motor, one's for the sound, and one's an auxiliary. I have a fast charger here, so a PD65 and just a normal standard USB-A, and just a 12-volt socket. The battery monitor is so handy for my lithium battery, because I'm able to tell how much current I'm using and how much battery life I have. So 80 amps is plenty enough. It's plenty enough for what I do and how I fish, especially in Ross River. I wouldn't need any more. I wouldn't even use half of that during a session. But yeah, I keep my remote control in there, spare jumper leads. So these jumper leads are, if the motor fails, I can hook it straight to power and I can get myself home if I need to. I've got a 6-way fuse block on top, and yeah, it all seems to fit pretty perfectly in here. I'm quite happy with it, actually. It's not the prettiest thing, but it works great for now. This is the pulley system Dad and I made. Just got 4 pulleys up there, 1 pulley over here, down to a hand winch. I'll put the kayak up shortly, but yeah, it works great. So I roughly just wheel it to where it needs to be. I curtain over it to keep it a bit protected. Goes through the hole and through the 2 scupper plugs. So get it about this height. Straps, strap it up. Alright guys, I'm filming this part of the video a month after everything you've just seen. I've changed up a lot of things since then. So that green 12-volt box that I was talking about earlier, that I used to rest between my legs, I've taken it apart. I've removed the battery monitor display and mounted it in here. So I've taken away the rod locker section and the holes that are pre-drilled fit the display perfectly. I've made a blanking plate that I'll most likely mount some connectors in there to run power for something. I've taken the fast charger out of the green box and mounted it on this plate, and I've also run power. This is all temporary. This is going to change up a bit more as I use the kayak more. Yeah, I've run power so I can run my lights. So the other night I caught a barra at night time in Ross River, and I realised you couldn't see anything, but luckily there was the bridge lights. So here's the bridge light so you can see the fish. So I've come up with these King's 3-inch lights. I've chopped up a piece of chopping board, put it in front, got some angle, and got a rail blazer mount. So now I have full 360-degree motion, so I can go side to side and up and down on both. I've also got the little spotlight here. I don't think I really use this one much. I've also taken away the 2 battery trays that I had in the front and rear. I've made this tray here, 3 brackets, and cut it out to fit the shape of the kayak, so I can mount my battery in there now. I've also run all the wiring harness internally, so the only external harness will be from the motor and the transducer. So I've also bought a new transducer, so I got the GT56 instead of the GT54, and the GT56 is a lot bigger than the GT54. So now I've mounted the transducer on the rail blazer mount. I've got one of the side ports, so it just slides in there, 360 and up and down, and then because the GT56 is a lot bigger, it doesn't fit in the actual transducer well anymore, so I've had to obviously mount it externally. And now I run the cable like I originally did, and put it in the bag. I need to make it a bit more tidier somehow, but yeah, that's it for now. I've also just ordered live scope, so I have to figure out what I'm going to do with that. Also, the Railblazer rod holders, they're really good. Like compared to the rod holders that come with the kayak, these are really good. And the reason they are is because if you get the swivel port, so that this here is called a swivel port, can spin 360 degrees. So you do that. I'll go grab a rod real quick. So the original rod holders were like this. So the rod wouldn't slide right down, but these new Railblazers, well, not new, but the Railblazer ones, they slide right down, and it just feels more secure. And yeah, I prefer it now. Oh, and obviously taking the eyelets out for the battery because that was temporary. Because I like to film my fishing in my kayak, I have the Railblazer pole. I don't even know what you call it. It's like 600 boom pole. I don't know what you call it. But yeah, it actually just fits perfectly in this area here. So that's a good little win. Just something to appreciate. And something fits nicely in an area. So obviously I ratchet strap my kayak to the cart to get it out easier. But the hooks on the ratchet strap would sometimes come off when you're like moving it around. So I put some carabiners on both sides. That's going to improve it a lot more. So I've mounted a tub rack on the Ranger, and I've added these kayak foam things you can get from Marketplace for cheap as, like kayak carriers. And yeah, that's how I bring the kayak with me. Just load it up on the tray and then unload it